Welcome to the New Heights Show on Education. I'm Pamela Clark, founder and director of the New Heights Educational Group, and I'm here with David Smith, the founder of Silicon Valley High School, who has helped us get these podcasts produced and delivered to you.
Yes, Pamela, when we saw the great things that you and your army of volunteers were achieving at New Heights, we wanted to get involved. We're happy to work with you to leverage the internet and make quality education accessible and affordable to everyone, everywhere.
Thank you, David. We appreciate Silicon Valley High School helping us to get these podcasts out to the hundreds of thousands of listeners from all over the world. So I hope you enjoy the show.
In this week's episode, we will discuss education reform on mission.
Hello, everyone. This is Danielle Washington coming to you live from Ms. Buffy Williams' office. We're just sitting around thinking about life and trying to become better people tonight, so check us out. Welcome back. You're on the air with Buffy Williams, and you have been listening to the New Heights Show on Education. We have been discussing the show's purpose on mission.
Good evening. This is your host, Buffy Williams, and you're listening to the New Heights Educational Group, the New Heights Show on Education. Tonight's topic is careers in education. On last week's show, we discussed the complexities of the K-12 grading system and the pros and cons of different alternative ways of grading within the K-12 area. On tonight's episode, we're discussing careers in education using the Department of Labor sponsored site, the ONET Online. So join in the conversation with us and call us at 917-948-7542 or put your comments in the chat or tag us on social media using the hashtag NHEG. Or as always, post your comments on Twitter at Buffy_Awakened or on Spreaker, Instagram, or YouTube. Remember, my New Heights host, fellow host Erica Hansen's show airs on Thursdays at 2 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Again, tonight's topic is careers in education, and we're using the ONET Online, and if you are typing that in your search box, if you type O*net online, it will bring up a search bar for you for the ONET Online. And one of the things is, specifically on this particular site, I've utilized with students for many years, and it has proven to be one of those things that students come back to over and over again because it's such a useful tool that the Department of Labor has put out. And what it does is explores careers. Before we get into specifically careers in education, I want to talk more about how you explore careers in general, because students have to have some way of understanding what skill levels and things that are tasks that are associated with different jobs. And so what the ONET does is it gives you an opportunity to explore these careers and give job analysis of different careers and different career fields. Because your child might know that they want a career in education, but they don't specifically know particular jobs within the educational field. And so it's very helpful to have the ONET as a tool because it lists detailed descriptions of the world of work, and it's used by job seekers, workforce development persons, HR professionals, students, researchers, and many more people. And what it does is it allows you to browse groups of similar occupations within a particular career field or industry. And so with that, it also gives you an opportunity on the main page. Once you go into, you can search by an occupation. It gives you those career clusters. It gives you an advanced search, or you can search by the actual skills that are associated with a particular job. And so one of the other useful things, it gives your interest. And so when you click onto the ONET Center, it has a page that lists a number of different things that you can explore again. And so when you type in the top search box, if you were to type in education, you get multiple listings for careers in education. But one of the things I want you to pay particular close attention to is the fact that once you do that, it also gives you an opportunity to look at particular jobs that have a bright outlook. And those will be indicated by a sunshine symbol next to the actual career. And so when you go into education, those are the careers that have a bright outlook within the next 5 to 10 years in that particular career field. And so it lists under this particular search the top 20 occupations within education. And so just randomly, I'll read off a few for you. And the number one, I should say, is adapted physical education specialist. And then they have on the list adult basic education and secondary education and literacy teachers. Then they have health educators, vocational education teachers. And so these are just to name a few of the top 20. And so if your child is interested in any of those particular fields, they have a link that you can actually click on the one that your child sees the most interest in. And so, or if the children are listening, you can use this for yourself as well. So, self-enrichment education teachers. So there are a number of different ones that have a bright outlook right now for the next 5 to 10 years. And so once you see that, that's an indicator that there are going to be a lot of jobs anticipated within that field. And it also has, for different jobs, a green, and it has like a little green leaf beside it. And those are the jobs that are considered eco-friendly for the environment. So if your child is interested in working for a company that is eco-friendly, then they'll look for something with a green leaf beside it as well. And so those are just some small little helpful tips that your child can use. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of the particular areas and just kind of explore with you a little bit more in detail about what the ONET says before you get into those specific careers. And so initially what it does, it gives you a summary of what that particular field, detailed job description is. And then it also offers you additional job titles within that particular field. So I clicked on the one when I went into education that had a bright outlook, and it was health educators. And then additional jobs that are listed, or additional job titles within that field, are certified diabetes education, clinical instructor, community health consultant, community coordinator, health education coordinator. And so these health promotion specialists, public information officer. So these are some things that your child may not necessarily think off the bat. I want to be in education, but wait, this actually is of interest to me. Not only education does not mean necessarily that I have to teach at a high school or elementary school or middle school. I could go into actually educating within the healthcare field. And these are some of the things that I could actually do. And so they may have more interest in the field because they see the number of job titles that are associated with that. And so one of the other things that is important about the ONET Online is that it also gives a list of tasks that are associated with that particular job. And so I'll just read off one for you. It says they prepare and distribute health information materials such as reports, bulletins, and visual aids for addressing smoking, vaccines, and public health concerns. So let's say your child is interested in working in this field, but they didn't know they were going to have so much contact with the public and creating all of these materials and disseminating these materials. So then they may say, well, I want to work in the field, but I don't necessarily want to be, hands-on and writing these particular type things or handing out these particular, doing public health forms or education forms. I'm not quite comfortable with that, but I like to work behind the scenes. Then you would explore a different career field for your child. But we're talking about career fields in education. So in addition to that, they also have the technical skills that are associated with that particular job. And so for this particular area, it says medical software, spreadsheets, graphics and photo image software, and database interfacing software. And so it gives a little bit more detail of what that entails. They have Adobe, of course, Microsoft Excel, and a couple of other things. So your child will also note, if they go into this particular website, a fire sign that's associated with it's hot for technology. So if your child is interested in that particular, in addition to education, if they're good at technology or if they need to work on their technology skills, that's another indicator that they will need to work at that while they're in college or in high school to kind of enhance their skills within that particular area. And so it's important for them to understand you don't go into a field because you've already mastered it. You're going into it because you're learning these skills. Then it also has a area where it tells you the knowledge that is necessary for this particular field, customer and personal service, education and training, English language, clerical, and psychology. And so those are some of the knowledge areas. And then it goes down to the skills. So they have to have active listening, speaking skills. So if they're afraid of speaking in front of people, they're going to definitely have to work on that, and communication as far as speaking and writing, learning strategies, and then active listening. Then it goes down to their abilities that they will actually need: oral presentation and expression and comprehension. And it just gives a breakdown for the child so that they understand. And it also specifically goes into the work activities that are associated with that particular job, the details and activities, and then content of the things that they will be doing. And then at the bottom, what happens is they tell you the percentage of people that work in that field, how many people have a particular degree. And so for this particular field, it says 62% have associate's degrees, 31% in that field have bachelor's degrees, and 3% have a high school diploma or equivalent. And so in this area, if the child sees on there that they have to have a master's degree or they have to have a doctorate within that particular area, then they may say, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to pay for that. And then you can explore how are you going to pay for your education and those type things. But it also has a link for credentialing, finding, trainers, finding certifications, and also apprenticeships within the government. And it also has interest areas in there as well. So if you know your interest code for this particular field within health educators, most people who go into this field are social and enterprising, and it tells you what that actually means. And then it goes into the actual work styles, and then the values, and then at the very bottom, other related occupations. So if they didn't hit the target with that particular one, these are some ones that actually tie into that particular bracket.